4, 3, 2, 1.
This broadcast, telecast, podcast, and whatever the hell else it is copyrighted by the Rad Network and the Rob and Steve Sports Show, all found at theradnetwork.com, and is for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of this madness without the express permission of the Rad Network and Williams Broadcasting and Rob's Really Mean Lawyers is prohibited. So just don't do it.
This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show, a show all about the thrill of Rob's victories.
Dallas 27, San Francisco 21. The upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from the Super Bowl. 3rd and 3. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. White Clark is 6'4". He stands about 10 feet tall in this crowd's estimation.
And the agony of Steve's defeats.
3 and 2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the man. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
But mostly, it's about sports and nothing but sports.
Onside kick to start the second half, and the ball bounces off the hands of the Colt, and it looks like the Saints had it for a second. And it's Saints football. They recover the onside kick. What a fearless start to the second half. Really unbelievable decision.
And now, the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
Game 4 tonight, Madison Square Garden. No President Trump, just the Knicks and the Spurs, and what a difference the game makes to both teams, which we'll talk about. What a difference may be coming to the prediction markets. We'll see if the announcement this morning from the CFTC, if you don't know who that is, we'll explain, says, and how it may or may not affect your ability to predict on things like Kalshi, in particular with sports betting. Baseball and football news involving names you know. What about last night, Steve? Yet again, a chaotic hockey game for the Stanley Cup Finals in Vegas. In fact, Carolina Hurricanes captain Jordan Stahl says he can't believe the final has been this chaotic, calling it a wild ride. They even the series the Hurricanes did 5-3 last night. Stahl, part of all of it, including his game-winning goal at 6:32 of the third period, dived to the ice using his stick to knock the puck past him. So your question yesterday, are we going to start with, we're going to stop with all of the cartoony bounces, dives, gimmicks, goofs, net, the Zamboni, and everything else being involved is no. What a game. What did you see last night with Vegas and Carolina?
Yeah, Carolina really came out, was playing well. Again, got out to that big lead, 3-1 at the end of the first period. It was interesting because they were up 2-0, and the announcers come out and say, so far, every team that's gotten out to a 2-0 lead has gone on to lose so far in this series. Vegas fought their way back, as they always do. But again, the third period, there's 2 games in a row. Vegas has been the best third period team in all of hockey. They gave up 2 more goals in yesterday's game, although you really can't blame them. I mean, Stahl's dive. He's kind of going back. The puck's out in front of him. It's like, I'm not going to be able to reach it. Dives and has the ability to put it in the net. And then the other one was just that empty netter at the end of the game. But another great game, another game I'm not going to the window, because 8 more goals in this game as they took it up to 6, which was 6 under 15. Let's see here. Game for Thursday is now going to 6 over 15. They just keep creeping that total up because they continue to score, which is so uncharacteristic. But I don't recall watching anything close to this many games that there's that many like odd goals. You know, normally you have those, hey, look, they put it in the upper left corner, they put it in the 5-hole between the goalie's legs. I mean, this is like off skates by opponents who accidentally hit it in, diving to score a goal. It's as bizarre goals as you could ever see, and it's wonderful because it's in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it's these weird bounces, goals, blips, blops, bloops, they're all part of this Stanley Cup where every minute seemingly you can't, the old cliche, looking away will just cost you. And so when you look at these games, because they're now at 2-2, it, it, can you point to something with either team? Carolina's doing this right or wrong. Vegas is doing this right or wrong, or is this just two incredible teams playing incredible hockey, and it's going back and forth, and like you said from the beginning, it's probably going seven.
It is two incredible teams playing an incredible series. And the way I would probably sum it up, it's been the luck of the bounce of the puck. It isn't anything's doing, game one, it was all about the mistakes and capitalizing on the mistakes when they made it. The last three games just seem to be how the puck bounces and what you can make happen with it.
It seems like when trying to pick out things, people really have to stretch. They were kvetching over Torts challenging the replay of the goal earlier in the series, which everybody says you had to. Oh, but it didn't go your way, so we're gonna pick over that. And it's what when I watch it, it seems to me like two perfectly matched teams that are giving it everything they got, and it is just, and that's why they're going to overtime. They're super close. Big surprise. I get the alert on my phone. I'm going back and forth. Oh, they're heading to the third period. It's all tied. Of course it is. That's just what this. I can't believe it didn't go overtime. That's what the series has been. They will play tomorrow night, as Steve alluded to, at 5 o'clock. That is where they begin. The NHL begins basically their best 2 out of 3 because they're tied at 2-2. We'll talk about whether or not the NBA is going to get there in a moment. But going back to yesterday, as we were talking about two NHL coaching hires, there was the LA Kings, and then there was the Edmonton Oilers. So we wanted to clear up that the Oilers are looking at Mike Babcock to hire. However, before he will actually be hired, there is a full investigation of him. Now, Babcock has not coached in the NHL since November of 2019. He did win a Stanley Cup in '08 with Steve's Detroit Red Wings. He is 12th in career wins by an NHL coach, but he's been out of the game for 7 years. And Steve was alluding to this investigation that will cover Babcock's time with the Columbus Blue Jacks in 2023. Blue Jackets, not Blue Jacks. He was hired but never coached for Columbus. And that's because he resigned 3 months after he was hired after an NHLPA, Players Association, investigation into claims that he, Babcock, violated players' privacy, asking to see their phones on or their photos on their cell phones. The Players Association shared its findings with the NHL, who shared them with the Blue Jackets, and then team president John Davidson said, "We got it wrong in hiring Babcock." The NHLPA said yesterday Oilers players had reached out regarding Babcock's status, and the Players Association now talked to both the Oilers and the NHL about this. So, Steve, you alluded specifically to, you had a few stories, but this one where and I never quite understood what the power play of him demanding to see the players' phones to look at their pictures. But there are, as you suggested, we just had the names mixed up yesterday with Babcock. There's actually a series of these events involving Babcock and his own players.
Yes, and it was Mitch Marner when he was with Toronto. Mitch Marner is the one that he asked, like who are the players that you feel hustle or play the hardest or something to that extent. And the way I read it is Marner thought it was in confidentiality, and then he shared it with who Marner said were the best players with that, which is just putting him young in his career. This was at the very beginning of his career, putting him out there in front of all the veterans and all of that. It really surprises me that Edmonton would be looking at bringing him on. I don't care how much and how great of a coach that you are and the fact you've won a Stanley Cup. When you've outed your players and done this stuff, and what did you gain by it? I mean, the only thing when you read these things he's done is alienate himself from his players, lose all of his players' respect. And how can you be a head coach in the NHL if you don't have the players' respect and none of them want to play for you?
The Marner example is very over the top, hyper masculinity, drill sergeant stuff. I mean, Marner was a rookie when when Babcock asked him to rank the hardest working players on the team, and as you said, then he shared the list with his teammates. It's maniacal almost as a coach because there is nothing. The answer to your question, there's nothing that he gets out of it other than that. I can make you do this. I can embarrass somebody. And the fact too is okay, great. He won a Stanley Cup. Well, what, 20 years ago, 18 years ago, and he hasn't coached for 7 years. I mean, I'm not saying the game passes everybody's by. I think that hey, if Bill Cowher or John Gruden wants to coach, you should talk to him. Maybe they know what they're talking about. But there's a taint to this guy, and the Oilers, as you alluded to, this is not a non-contending, lack of prestige organization or franchise in the NHL, and for them to be looking at this, and what's Connor McDavid think of all this?
That's exactly where I was going to go because I have a hard time believing Connor McDavid said, this is the guy I think we need. We need Babcock as our head coach. Let's bring him in. I have to believe they didn't even consult him, which is that another wedge between him and the team that they were looking at bringing this guy on board. And is he really better than Knobloch? You just fired the guy. I mean, you and I talk about it all the time. If you're going to fire a head coach, a manager, who are you going to get that's better? This is not the answer.
Is Edmonton, do you recall, one of the teams that the Golden Knights said, no, you can't talk to Cassidy for the
Yes.
job?
Yes.
See,
The Oilers and the Kings.
and I mean, that's not even a discussion. Who would you rather have, Cassidy or Babcock? And here the Knights are sitting there saying, no, you can't talk, which we've talked that to death. All right, we'll jump to basketball. Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. First, we'll go backwards. And we did learn that Victor Wembanyama will not receive a flagrant foul for his shove to the upper body of Jalen Brunson in Game 3. This occurred with 4:44 remaining in the first quarter. Monday night, Brunson attempted to set a screen on Wemby around the free throw line. Center turns around. He shoves the Knicks guard to the ground, as the description ESPN uses. No foul was called on the play. NBA's senior vice president of referees told ESPN a foul should have been called on the play. The league decided not to upgrade it to a flagrant, so Wemby will stay at 2 flagrant points in the postseason. If you get to 4, you're subject to an automatic suspension. Good call to not upgrade it, Steve?
I don't know. I have a hard time with that shove. I probably would have upgraded it, said, look, there's no penalty right now, but now you're at 3. You better not make it a 4th.
And is that why they didn't? Because the NBA being they, don't want the face of the league one away from automatic suspension.
I believe that is why they didn't do that because you never know what could happen. As tall as he is, he can get a rebound, swing those elbows around, and land something in a face, and he's going to get a flagrant for it. So I think the league was protecting him in this instance by trying to keep him a little bit farther away from being forced. Now, maybe they'll take the stance of, oh, well, maybe we'll just enforce it next year because even though it was a flagrant, like with Luca or whoever, I don't remember who it was, but it was like, oh, no, we got a big game coming up this week, so we're going to postpone that and we'll enforce it like a week later.
Yeah, which they didn't make that announcement, though. They just said it's not flagrant. And my question is, does that further erode confidence, or are people, sports fans, are they smart enough to go, it's the star quarterback thing, it's Wemby, it's good business, they're not going to put him a game, but wait, shouldn't he still be called if it was a flagrant? This is going to be the never-ending argument.
And that's where we've gone with sports altogether. We have way too many camera angles. We see everything that's out there. We have replays of everything. And man, we've been questioning referees' calls for years.
And when does it become paralysis by analysis? I get very uncomfortable, but I understand the post non-call reviews because I get the logic of people who scream, if it wasn't called a foul, how can it be called a flagrant foul 2 days later or a day later when a bunch of guys are sitting around? I understand the answer, but I think it messes with people's minds.
It does. I mean, we asked for the transparency, which is where that 2-minute report comes out. But sometimes we don't like the answers because they come out and they admitted they blew the call, they missed the call. We did this, we did that, and in this case, yeah, it should have been, but we didn't call it. But it should have been a foul, but it's not a flagrant. If that was Jalen Duran of the Pistons, it's a flagrant. I don't think there's a hesitation. So that's where the fans start questioning is if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm screaming right now, going, how can you do this? Don't take away just because he's the face of the NBA doesn't mean he has the right to get away with whatever he wants to do because you need to make sure he's playing in all 7 games, 5 games, whatever it is of the NBA finals. That's not right to us. But we see this in sports all the time. And that's where the frustration, this is where that you and I used to defend the human element. Well, this is where you got to start taking this human element out. And I know you can't get into all of this different stuff with the touch fouls and that, but man, we got to start making it easier to tell on the blatant stuff that stick out. Use the technology, have that ability, put guys up in the booth that are referees at that time. Okay, it didn't get called by the guys on the court, but boom, I whistle down to Rob's ear and I say, hey, you might want to look at that. That should have been a flagrant foul for that push. And then Rob's allowed to, blow his whistle at that time because I'm watching it at real time and being able to help assist to get what we want correctly. The problem is it's still the human element and it'll still go by what is perceived by the public as the best interest for the NBA.
And to the human element thing, we talked a couple weeks ago about the A's and the Yankees, the very high profile glitch in the ABS system where we were making fun of the job that you're hoping to have someday, where instead of being a vendor, you can just be the ABS guy who sits upstairs and you got your feet on the counter drinking your Mountain Dew. All you got to do is watch the tablet in front of you or whatever, go, yep, yep, okay, and send the red. Yep, that's a strike. It's there. But for some reason, that guy fell asleep or he didn't see or whatever a week and a half ago in the A's Yankees game. It happened again last night. Different scenario. A's are playing the Brewers, and the way this goes usually is the A's were the ones challenging. The catcher taps the helmet, and almost within 2 seconds, you see the generation of the pitch come up. You see the box and you see the pitch, and the pitch either ends red or not. If it's red, it was a strike. And the A's were challenging because they're on defense. They wanted to be called a strike, right? But the image never came up. It's just sitting there, and it wasn't Langoliers as the catcher. It was Heim. I forget his name, but the back was very good at Heim. He's really good, and he's standing there. He's got his neck is crooked as he's looking at the screen, and the umpire is doing the same thing. And then the A's announcer say, "I think we're gonna." And as they're saying that, home plate umpire grabs his earbud and puts it in his ear, and then he turns around and he says, "Due to a technical error, we cannot confirm or deny the call, so the call on the field stands, but the A's won't lose their challenge." And then 3 seconds later, the A's broadcast has the pitch. The local, and they're in Vegas because they're playing in Vegas for a couple weeks for the A's to introduce themselves in a different minor league park. And people, when the home plate when the home plate umpire announced technical foul or technical error, we can't call it, they booed like insane over it didn't go the A's way, but also, boo, where's the tech? We wanted to see the pitch. And then the A's had it right away. Didn't affect the game. The umpire had the call right. That's the good news. But still, that's that human error. And Dallas Braden had said that, a couple weeks ago. You're still going to have the human error. A human still have to says, yes, this is what happens. And I guess a human has to be able to throw a button to see the pitch or something as well.
Hey, if I had gotten the job, that would have been me. If it would have been the Aviators in their ballpark, I'd have just said, hey, Rob, I was grabbing a beer or a hot dog or sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't think anything was going on. I got caught. Happened to be a close pitch. Maybe they just need to outlaw food and beverage from me going forward.
no problem. All right. Technical error. We don't know. But we won't take the challenge from the A's. So back to basketball. Here we go. Tonight, big difference between 3-1, 2-2. Stanley Cup, we're at 2-2. It's the best. It's the best 2 out of 3 now. What happens tonight between the Knicks and the Spurs? Do the Knicks go somewhat comfortably ahead? Somewhat. That's as good as you're going to get. Do the Spurs regain home court? They win tonight, best 2 out of 3, and they regain it. So, here's what a lot of people are saying. 3 things to look for. Of course, Wemby. It's got to be Wemby. Everything's about Wemby. Does he continue his upward trend? A lot of people say he seemed a lot more comfortable, say over the last 6 quarters or so. Does he have that signature performance still to come? Does he have that Jordan moment, that game? Is it tonight? Whatever. What about Brunson? Can he get back on track? He's shooting 37% in the series, 32% deep, taking 27 shots per game, which is more than anyone else on the Knicks. That would be 81 total shots for 82 points in the series. And who is the guy not named Wemby or Brunson who fills that void? Is it Keldon Johnson of the Spurs, Luke Cornett, Dylan Harper, Deuce McBride of the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson, player to be named later? Any of those, Steve, jump out at you? What's the key tonight for either of these teams?
One of the names I keep throwing out there is De'Aaron Fox has to step up. He has to shoot the ball better. I think they're paying him way too much money to be such an underachiever for this team. For the Knicks, I mean, Karl Anthony Towns has played really good defense. I'd like to see him get a little bit better offensively. And OG Anunoby, great game in this last game. I think they need to keep him involved in this offense to help the Knicks out. They need another scorer besides Brunson, and Mikal Bridges has got to step up. 2 points in game 3 is not enough. He needs to step up as well. Brunson, I know he's the leader. I know he's the GOAT now for the Knicks if they win this series, but you can't be relying on him throwing up 30 shots a game. I think he said he's averaging 27. He's not shooting the ball that well. He's making great clutch shots, but just don't have him force it. I'm not saying take the ball out of his hands in clutch situations. I'm just saying, look, he doesn't have to be your only offensive. Spread it around. That's what I thought they did great in game 2. They spread the ball around, got everyone involved, and then allowed Brunson to win it when he has to.
They were doing that again, by the way, this morning. And I don't know what former Nick was on. It was an older Nick player. It was very quick when I heard it, but they were doing the whole, is Jalen Brunson the greatest Nick of all time? And the immediate answer was, well, if they win, of course he is. And then this former player said, well, I mean, right now it's Patrick Ewing, and he never won, so why couldn't it be Brunson? And I'm standing there going, why are we having this conversation? I know we all have to fill time. But this is at like 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, I already have too much stuff for Steve and I. Why are we arguing this? The Brunson, the Wemby thing. Okay, so here's what I wanted to ask you: is there a not on the court momentum or intangible thing? Here's some examples. The Spurs showed they can beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. They didn't play the best Spur basketball, but they beat the Knicks. Does that give the Spurs added confidence? Do the Knicks take solace in, hey, they beat us, but we didn't give our best. We're still the Knicks. We're at home. They're in Madison Square Garden. Is there anything in here? The Spurs are younger. They haven't been here, but they seem to mature every series, every game. Knicks have a lot of experience. The Knicks have Mike Brown. Is there anything that makes you go, not like you're predicting the winner, but makes you go, I think this is the intangible thing that might come into play?
I think just listen to the media. It's Trump won't be there. That's the whole reason the Knicks lost. Trump won't be there. The Knicks will win. They're at home. The fans won't show up until late into the game so they can do their pregame warm-up in a half-empty arena, and they'll be very happy.
Something to watch for. That is something to watch for, since we were told by all of these New York media folks that were there Monday, Madison Square Garden is never that packed when it's time for the national anthem. Well, let's watch tonight and see. Is it to the rafters, or is it half full because everybody's doing the LA Dodger thing? The game is tonight, 5:30 on ABC, and then on Saturday night, they'll be back in San Antonio. Don't worry, today, unlike yesterday, I'm abiding by the new rule. You mentioned the NBA, you must mention LeBron James and the status of where he is at. in terms of his comeback, not his comeback, his career. Will he play with the Lakers? Will he go to another team? Will he go buy a team in Las Vegas? Will he become a movie star? Will he do a deal with Netflix? Well, all of that is also circling around the fact of, is he the greatest of all time? The answer is no, but we have to continue to talk about it. He was asked about the inevitable greatest of all time debate surrounding he and Michael Jordan during a recent interview with Time magazine. And LeBron James, I will say in all fairness, I respect the hell out of LeBron. I just don't like a lot about LeBron. I think mostly he didn't say too much badly or too poorly here. His initial reaction, though, was, I ain't taking nobody over me. There's no question. End quote. He then acknowledged that, in his opinion, all the other potential GOATs would say the same thing. Quote, I think Mike will say the same thing. Rest his soul. Kobe would say the same thing. Magic would say the same thing. Bird, Shaq, the late great Wilt, Kareem. None of us are going to take somebody else, end quote. That's reasonable, I guess. I mean, like Wemby. Look, we can't praise Wemby for being out there saying, I want to be the MVP, I want to be, and then say LeBron doesn't have the ability to say, well, I'm not going to pick anybody over me. I know the popular thing is to say, well, that's not for me to decide. I don't have a problem with that quote from LeBron.
I don't have a problem with that, but I think I've watched a special where Bird took Magic and Magic took Bird. They did not take themselves.
And I would expect that of them. Different time, different generation, different people, different players. You're right. That doesn't surprise me at all. James did circle back to himself and said, quote, if there's a general manager and he's eyeballing all of us on a baseline with the number one pick, it's going to be hard not to take me, champ. I don't know why he had to pull in, work in calling the reporter a champ, but whatever. At a different point in the same interview, he was asked whether he thinks he is a more influential athlete than Michael Jordan. LeBron James said, quote, you ask somebody that grew up in the Jordan era, they're going to say Jordan. You ask somebody who grew up in the LeBron era, they're still going to say Jordan. Impressive. I can tell you this. I never step my feet in another man's shoes. My journey is my journey. I do what I do. I know what I brought to the table from a basketball standpoint, an inspiring standpoint, an influential standpoint. I know I can walk in any room, end quote. I don't have a problem with that either. I don't. He praised Jordan, rightfully.
Yes. My question is, and this gets into that greatest of all time, the standing on the sideline, and we're picking teams. Who are you picking first? And knowing their whole careers, and I'm not saying just coming out of college, because if it's just coming out of college, I think I know I'm down to two different people. But on the whole, I think I'm still kind of at two or three. You wouldn't take a Wilt Chamberlain standing there at the beginning of his career, or a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar who never lost, didn't lose like in college, didn't lose in high school, didn't lose. Really? You're going to pick LeBron over those two? I'm not sure I do. And knowing what we know, because Jordan is the greatest, Jordan for me would go one. But if you just took him out of college, Jordan's not number one.
No,
I don't think LeBron's number one. I think you're probably looking at either Wilt Chamberlain and I would be going Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And I don't know what LeBron obviously was in his head, but when he says, if you're a general manager eyeballing all of us on a baseline, well, then we get to establish the baseline. I don't like the out of college one, because that's not what the GOAT debate is about. It's here's what your totality of your presence stood for, and here's where it ranks. So it would be with, as you said, the knowledge of the totality of everything they've done. I'm taking all of these people over LeBron, aren't I? Certainly Jordan.
Yeah.
Magic.
Gosh, Magic was incredible.
Kobe. I've already said I'm taking Kobe over LeBron as the best Laker of this century. Of course I'm taking Kobe.
And nobody gives Magic the credit for when he had to go from point guard to center, because Kareem went out and they still went on and won an NBA championship, as he's now playing center through the finals. I think Magic is underrated.
And then, Wilt and Kareem are going to be above LeBron. Okay, maybe Shaq. Maybe we're going to have a discussion. LeBron or Shaq, who am I taking? He basically named a whole bunch of people that A lot of us would take that.
One-on-one, I'm taking Shaq. I think Shaq was unstoppable. Shaq was during his career. I'm on record as saying I think Shaq could be the greatest of all time if he put in the work ethic. He didn't want to work on his free throws. He didn't want to work. He let himself get out of shape. If he would have stayed focused and had that Michael Jordan drive to be the best, I think we'd be talking Shaq as the greatest player to play in the NBA.
Whether he did it consciously or not, Shaq basically said, I'm taking myself out of the running. I want to live my life. I want to be Shaq. I want to eat what I eat, and I don't really care about free throws. I'm out. And so you're right. That's why he's not on it. And it's that whole we'll never know type discussion. Speaking of off season, so nothing there about where LeBron's going, but we got to mention him. Last thing, becoming more and more important, Giannis will be on the move this off season. Months of speculation about his time in Milwaukee have led to the point where Bucks co-owner Jimmy Haslam himself says he expects a resolution in the whole Giannis matter prior to the NBA draft, which is June 23rd. We're down to what, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. The Giannis deal will be over if Haslam's right on this one. As for the best landing spots for Giannis, people continue to debate 4 main teams, and it seems like one's emerging. A lot of people are talking about, this is not the emerging one, still the Cleveland thing. Question is, would the Cavaliers be willing to part with Evan Mobley, which would be required to work something for this deal, according to insiders? And it would also present an interesting pairing of stars at different points of the careers with Giannis, Donovan Mitchell, and James Harden. Doesn't seem like a recipe for much of a Cleveland rebound, but I don't know. I don't know. They're talking about it.
I just have no interest in James Harden. As long as he's sitting on the Cavs, I just really can't take them seriously.
A lot of people are taking seriously the possibility of Boston getting Giannis, but here's the problem they say there. For years under Missoula, the Celtics have done the offense in which all 5 starters can space and shoot the ball. Changed this season, and then Giannis, not exactly an outstanding perimeter shooter. Plus, his pace is off. Giannis is a fast break player, whereas the Celtics are more deliberate in the half court. There's so much talent with the Celtics. Is this a question of if Giannis went there, is it too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing?
And how many of those cooks are they including in trading him back? The Celtics roster isn't going to say the same with Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Right, and they don't mention in this theory of exactly how they land Giannis, but the Celtics are being discussed. I don't know how serious that is. Orlando's getting discussed because solely of their new coach. The Magic named Spurs assistant Sean Sweeney, who is intimately familiar with Giannis after he spent 4 seasons in Milwaukee as an assistant coach. But then we get back to shooting, which Orlando already sucks at, and Giannis doesn't exactly super duper improve everything there.
And does he really want to go to the stepbrother in Florida? I mean, he's voiced he wants to go to Miami. Would he be willing to settle for Orlando? And I don't, as you said, they still can't shoot from outside. I don't see how he changes that much from the current roster and play that they have. It still exposes their weakness.
And to your first point, does he want to play in Miami, which he has said publicly, because he wants to live in Florida? Or does he want to play for Miami because of Spoelstra and other teammates? And because more and more it is emerging. Hey, there's Brian Windhorst on ESPN right now who's already reporting as well. It's more and more looking like the Miami Heat because it's the pair that seemingly satisfies all parties. If Milwaukee is one of those parties, because they're the wild card because the Heat would take them. And Giannis has said publicly that's his preferred destination. And Giannis's agent is the same as Bam Adebayo's agent, and so everybody believes there's a little bit of something going on there. And then obviously the two would be kept in lockstep, and how the pairing would look on the floor. The Heat, they sped up their pace this season. Giannis can slide right in. Spoelstra, finally, everybody's caught up to us. One of the best minds. You got Riley sitting there. A lot of people say Spoelstra would have his best player since LeBron or Dwayne Wade to coach. But if I remember correctly, when this first broke, when Giannis said he'd go to the Heat, didn't you say, Steve, that's not the missing link? That doesn't suddenly make the Heat the favorite in the East to you? Or maybe I misheard.
No, I don't think it makes them the favorite. And my question still is, what are they giving up? You're telling me they're not giving up a player? That they're going to get the deal done for 5 first-round draft picks. I don't think the Bucks are going to go there. That's why you hear Evan Mobley has to be included. You're going to hear for the Thunder, if that's the case, Chet Holmgren's going to have to be included. So you're giving them to the Celtics, the Heat, and no players move. You're adding them to the current roster. I'll throw one at you that I think you would fit great. It still wouldn't make them fully the favorites, possibly. Right here, Pistons. Go throw him in there. The Pistons were one of the top teams in the league in transition points. They like to get out there. Cade Cunningham really stepped it up this year, leading them to the number 1 seat in the East. They have some good young talent. Durant would be one of those players at 23 years old. They move him to Cleveland. They give him a big. Cleveland just needs to be a little patient and hoping they can continue to develop him. But, with the Bucks, but you this is not going to be a draft picks for Giannis. That there's going to have to be some big names that have to move too. And I just don't see where it's coming out. Hey, let's throw the Lakers in there. If they're only going to give up 5 first-round draft picks, let them join the Lakers with Luka and Reeves and everyone else.
Right? Is LeBron there still in that scenario?
Sure. If not, we'll move them to the Warriors, and they'll give up not the 11th pick, but they'll give up some other first-round picks and nothing else. And then they'll bring in LeBron to go with Draymond and Jimmy Butler and Steph Kerr and Giannis and on and on and on. These are the things that drive me crazy when we read these stories from the media is they never talk of anything realistically that they're going to give up. I've given you some realistic. You SGA and Chet Holmgren, and I'm going to throw in 2 first-round picks. I find it hard to believe the Bucks would turn down a big man who is young and one of the top big men in the game, and the 2-time MVP, and I'm getting 2 first-round picks. And many people will say, look, Steve, you're crazy. You could get them for a lot less than that. If you really want them, make an offer they cannot refuse. And I would love to see if the Bucks would refuse that, because if they said no to that, then he's not going anywhere.
Of the teams they highlighted, the Cavaliers, the Celtics, the Heat, and the Magic, the only possible landing spot they explored at all how it would happen was the Cavaliers, as you said, mentioning Mobley. The other 3, they don't say anything about what everybody else would have to do to get Giannis. So it's all that pie in the sky, self-pleasuring thing of, hey, we got to fill up an article of here's where he might wind up, and we haven't gotten any further with where Giannis might wind up.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital, as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say,
Stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com. SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040, Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Opinions? Check. Facts, stats, and insight? Check. Wild overreactions and made-up disagreements? Sorry, you've come to the wrong place. This is the home of two guys sitting around just talking sports. The Rob and Steve Show on the Rad Network.
Probably don't expect most sports shows to start a segment with the sentence, the Community Futures Trading Commission. However, they're in the news. They're making more news as we continue to go further and further down the rabbit hole towards the Supreme Court. We don't know. Of prediction markets, most notably Kalshi and Poly Market, where you can bet on the outcome of things. They've been in the news because of wars. They've been in the sports news because of sports betting, etc. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC from now on, is the federal agency that currently regulates prediction markets. According to data published by the Pew Research Center a couple weeks ago, the combined monthly trading volume on Kalshi and Poly Market has more than quadrupled in 8 months. In September of 25, $5 billion. Last month, $24 billion of action on Kalshi and Poly Market, the combined trading of just those two, the two giant ones. In the prediction market, Kalshi in particular has seen a boon from sports-related trades, which have made up 80% of their total trading volume in the last 2 years. Only 39% of Poly Market's trading is sports. Critics argue that prediction markets are no different from gambling, particularly when it comes to sports. Several states are engaged in legal fights with the CFTC over where and how prediction markets should be regulated, and other states have sued specific prediction markets for violating state gaming laws. And finally, this morning, the CFTC released their 267-page proposal that would rework and more carefully define some of the rules governing prediction markets. So the CFTC is saying, hey, we're in charge until the courts say we're not. Here's how we're going to change things. The proposed framework leaves open the door for most but not all sports-related activities, which have become the massive profit driver. The CFTC states each event contract will be reviewed individually. Outlined several sports-related examples that are likely to be found contrary to the public interest and therefore prohibited, including event contracts on the occurrence of severity of injuries, refereeing decisions, physical altercations during games, and youth sporting events. CFTC says those won't be allowed. That's our proposal. They also propose rules that would bar discrete action contracts involving specific participants. That's prop betting. Under the CFTC's framework. The new rules would also outlaw several types of event contracts that are unrelated to sports. For those of you that follow this in the other reality that we live in, war, assassinations, terrorism. I mean, they are addressing a lot of what people have said is wrong. Now, are they addressing them in the right way is what we'll have to discuss. They're going to take public comment for 45 days. Meanwhile, in that 45 days, there'll be more court decisions. While the CFTC's proposed framework curtails some sports related trades, it also offers a detailed defense of sporting event contracts involving the outcome of a game or the general performance of a team. The CFTC describes sports teams as economic enterprises and stadiums as regional economic anchors, arguing that most sports related contracts have public utility. I'm guessing, Steve, this just came out before we started. This doesn't go far enough for you, but it can't be the worst thing you've ever seen.
I still worry about the outcome of sports books once this goes to the Supreme Court, because if they win this, I'm not sure sports books will even exist. I know the states are going to fight it because we've talked about the state taxes that all these states that have legalized sports betting, uh, that they've approved over the years. I think where were we at? 38 or 40 states now have legalized sports betting. All that income goes away. And what are these states, that are depending on it? I know Colorado, a big portion of theirs goes towards their water projects. And if they lose that funding, and it's still not regulated. The thing that jumped in that article out to me was Kalshi. 80% of what the business they're doing is from sports betting. Uh, that tells me that prior to me even knowing who Kalshi was a couple of years ago with this, Kalshi didn't do anything. I mean, they are the front runners. They're the number one predictions market that everybody talks about, and they pretty much didn't exist in a sense, and went after the sports betting, and now they are the industry leader. I was talking to another guy who does play on this, and I did not and was not aware of this, but Polymarket uses Bitcoin. It isn't cash. It isn't anything like that. So if you're going to trade on Polymarket, you have to trade in Bitcoin, which guys like me, I don't understand that world. I know, Rob, you've done shows on it, discussing it, etc. Bitcoin to me is like I invest in air, and then I just hope that, well, I can't touch it. I can't grab it. I'll never have it. I'll never see it. So hopefully it exists. That a world I don't understand.
Right. Or a person who's suffocating comes along and pays you for your portion of air in something that's tangible, or that you can convert to being something tangible, and then the air is now his problem. That's actually a perfect analogy. Other than, and I'm not dismissing the importance of it because I think it's pretty much what's driving these states. Other than the loss of revenue, and loss of revenue in the sense of revenue they're never going to see, even though gambling is going on in their states, because if the CFTC is controlling the prediction markets, it's federal. Aren't the things that the CFTC proposing good? They don't address the elephant in the room you're talking about, but aren't they good proposals to get us moving a little bit in the right direction?
It's good proposals that if they are going to be the dominant force and the Supreme Court's going to rule in that sense, then yes, we should never be placing bets on, Ronald Acuna goes down. He went on the IL today doing a hamstring. Well, I think he's going to be out for 90 days. Oh, I'm going to make a bet. We shouldn't be betting on how long a person's injured or how severe it is. We shouldn't be making any bets on referee calls or anything like that. We already get upset enough as a fan, but now you put wagering on it. You hear players getting death threats for this stuff, and now you're going to put referees into it. If you're going to try to fix a game, I think it's a lot easier to fix a game with the referee because they're not signing huge multi-million-dollar contracts. They're just trying to make a living as well. So they are going to be more vulnerable to the fixing. And the part I keep going to more than anything that I just don't think everybody fully understands, there's going to be no regulation. It's run by the CFTC, and there's no regulations. The sports books are the ones over the years that have always caught all the point shaving and all of these other scandals. You've taken them out of the picture. The prediction markets aren't going to sit there. They're just going to say, hey, look, yeah, this seemed weird, so we're not going to pay. And who are you going to go to? So there's no assistance or no one you will be able to complain to if you have a problem with what happened. So no regulation and no area to file a complaint with, none of that's good for a customer.
The other thing they don't specifically address, they kind of dance around all these non-contract events things, is one that I've been bringing up and was just again made fun of on Monday night. This ability of inside information. You don't even have to be an insider, but inside information to bet on things. Jon Stewart of the Daily Show, he only hosts on Monday, and he did a whole thing on Monday, the game of Game 3 in the NBA. Clearly, the Daily Show, which airs at 8 o'clock locally. Or I'm sorry, 11 o'clock locally on the East Coast. And so on the West Coast, if you get the feed, you get it at 8. It wouldn't necessarily, for viewers, have changed things, but think about people, say, that are in the studio audience at 1 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon when they recorded it. And Stewart's whole thing was to do a satire. He used Elmo from Sesame Street. Elmo's a gambling addict in the bit. But the whole message of it is that Elmo asked Jon Stewart if he's going to be at the Knicks game tonight, and Stewart says, "Yes, I'll be there with my son. There's no way we would miss it." And Elmo's response to that is, "Great, that's what Kalshi says. You're going to be there." And everybody's betting on it, and now you've confirmed it. So I'm going to do an opposite bet and say that you won't be there, and then I'm going to take you out. And that's the over the top example of, I know hours before the game, people are betting that you, Jon Stewart, will be there. Well, I'll just bet you won't be there and I'll kill you. And I'll make all this money because there's 400 people in the audience here who also are all finding out that you're going to be there tonight. And again, the absurd to illustrate the absurd. Elmo kills Jon Stewart. All 400 people go and they bet he won't be making it. And it's an asinine way to prove how dumb this is. That things happen that you can bet on before they happen, before you can the actual outcome is known, and all you have to do is be in the right taste, right place, right time, or know somebody. And that's how outlandish this is. I don't see them addressing that in this proposal.
They're not. And the number one rule, I have to believe, but I think it's the number one rule, is the sporting, to accept a wager on a bet, it needs to be determined on the field in an athletic event that's not predetermined. So, and many years ago when Michael Jordan walked away, we took bets at that time of, would Michael Jordan play in the major leagues during the whatever season? And gaming had, and all the sports books had it up. Gaming made all the sports books take that wager down because someone's going to know ahead of time. It doesn't, it's not one of those that is determined on the field of play. In a sense, it kind of is, but we all had to come down. And so that's where you've seen all these creative new ones, such as Aaron Rodgers. What team will Aaron Rodgers throw his first pass for during the 2027 season? Or what team will this player have their first rushing attempt? Or, like right now, it would be, what team will Giannis score his first points for the 26-27 basketball season with? So there are workarounds, but it's still determined on the court. And this is just, it's open. And don't want to go political, but we've heard claims of the insiders all have this inside information, and how do these politicians make all of this money? Are they just that great of traders when they're sitting in these committees? And that's what they're opening this up for, is, have we accepted insider trading and just say, oh yeah, okay, they'll bust me and throw me in jail, but for all of these other people, they'll let it go. Because it is inside information. If you know what's going to happen prior to the event taking place and the result being posted, it is inside information.
Well, and let's take your example though of Giannis. Who will Giannis score a basket for first in 2026-2027 season? Okay. Yes, that will be determined on the court, but there are going to be a ton of people who know right before it's announced that Giannis is going to insert team here. And then anybody who's part of insert team here makes a bet for it'll be on this team. because he's going to be playing for the Heat. And I'm the equipment manager, and I just found this out. We're getting Giannis, and they're going to announce it at 1 p.m. I'm going to go make a giant bet. I didn't hear them addressing that.
Yes, you are correct. That's playing in the gray area, but all of us sportsbooks subscribe to an integrity firm that we are pretty much required to turn into them any betting pattern that is outside of the norm. So if we sit there and look, we don't take a ton of money on this, and all of a sudden some guy walks up and says, "Give me $100,000 on Giannis playing for the Miami Heat." Yeah, hey, look, this is an unusual request. We normally don't get that. You may take it, you may not take it. You send it in, and then all of a sudden, boom! Sportsbook in Pennsylvania. I just got this big bet on Giannis playing for the Heat. Sportsbook in New York. That's how they start investigating this. Okay, who was it? What did they play? And then they start doing their investigations. The predictions market, I don't think any of that's going to get done. It's just we took the bet.
They don't have to call the CFTC and say we're seeing this weird. So what
No.
about something even more current then? What about placing a prediction bet on who goes first in the NBA draft in a couple weeks? You mentioned Michael Jordan, and I'm thinking of the movie Air, which is extraordinary, and about the way Nike finally signed him. Well, advance that to modern day. Again, you've got when Nike finds out in that movie, dozens of people find out at once before they announce it publicly. What's the difference in a draft room? What's the difference when we get to draft day? And there's people that know we're taking this guy, and they can do the same thing. And that's not quite as standoutish as your Giannis example. People bet all the time on who, or predict all the time who's going to go first. Who will the number one pick be? And yet, it's because there's no governing board. What's to stop it?
Yes, they do. But in the sportsbook world, those bets have to come down 24 hours before the draft starts. So there are none of those finalized trades or things. And they might know ahead of time. Yes, you are correct there. But that's one of the steps that sports books in the States have taken is you must close all wagering on it 24 hours or more prior to the start of the event to take away, hopefully, those late trades.
Which I haven't heard anything about that in the prediction market. I don't know if they have some sort of deadline, or I just haven't heard about it. If they do, I've heard the opposite, that it was hours, say, before we bombed Iran, that those bets were coming in. I can't say I've specifically researched it, but I haven't heard. And again, apparently the only thing we could do would be to petition the CFTC if this all goes the way they want it to, and they can tell us to pound sand or something. I don't know.
Who are you going to complain to?
Right.
There's the no thing. One.
There is apparently, and by the way, the CFTC, did I save that part? It's an aside, and I didn't necessarily want to get into it either, but the CFTC usually consists of 5 commissioners. It currently has one guy named Michael Seelig, who was appointed by President Trump in December, who said in a statement that the new rules will provide a, quote, durable, transparent framework to identify the contracts that Congress directed us to scrutinize while letting legitimate markets move forward, end quote. That's the one chairman of the CFTC that's supposed to have a total of 5 chairmen, which makes everything smell even more. And again, no one to report to.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. If you've never heard of microseal, let me tell you what it isn't. It is not a really small marine mammal. Get it? A micro seal? Oh, fine. Just ask AI. AI describes microseal this way with a bunch of AI words. Microseal is a premium, eco-friendly, and biodegradable fabric protection spray that penetrates deep into fibers to provide permanent stain, soil, and sun fade resistance for rugs, furniture, and delicate fabrics. It uses nanotechno blah 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 and blue 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 blue. What AI is trying to say is that microseal is non-toxic, non-allergenic, safe for pets and children, and although AI doesn't say this, it should, you need to contact a longtime maggot Joel from AdvantageSteam.com right now to get him to apply microseal for you. You can even make appointments online at AdvantageSteam.com. We've had microseal for years at Williams Manor, and it treats a lot more than carpets. Microseal protects virtually all fibrous materials, including wool, cotton, silk, suede, leather, and synthetic fabrics. It protects upholstery, carpets, rugs, draperies, and clothing, including wedding dresses. And ladies, you're going to need what? 3 or 4 of those in your lifetime. And it protects against stains, moisture, and UV degradation without changing the texture. Also, if you're an interior designer, Joel has a special program just for you, and all you have to do is say the password, which is what? What? There's no password, I guess. Never mind. Whoever you are, contact Joel at AdvantageSteam.com. And if you're an interior designer, tell him, I guess. I don't know. That's AdvantageSteam.com, where you'll learn more about microseal and everything else that Joel offers at AdvantageSteam.com. That's AdvantageSteam.com. AdvantageSteam.com.
The Rob and Steve Show on the Rad Network. Let's get back to it. Email Rob and Steve, RAS@theradnetwork.com.
Got some NFL news about actually names that you know and you've heard about. The Giants, John Harbaugh and the Giants, they say they're still confident Malik Neighbors will be back and ready to go early this season. One of the other names that's been floating out there is Jacoby Brissett, who last year signed a 2-year, $12.5 million deal to sign as the backup for the Cardinals to Kyler Murray. Brissett ended up starting 12 games. This year, after a couple months of uncertainty, it became clear would be the starter. And that's the root of Brissett's effort to get a contract adjustment. It was confirmed yesterday that from Jacoby Brissett's perspective, it's simple. He arrived as a backup. He accepted a contract to be a backup, and now he's in the starting role, and he would like his deal to be adjusted. He did this in an interview with Devin McCourty, who goes on to say, not McCourty, but Brissett, it doesn't mean he wants to be paid at the high end of the scale as veteran starters go, which is what Jacoby Brissett is saying he is. He's a veteran of the league, and he's going to be the starter. $20 million is the baseline. And his current average is $6.25 million per year. Now, there's this question of at what point does Brissett, he's been holding out, they become more and more expensive for all sides, et cetera. If those numbers are right, we're in that we're nowhere close range that Baker Mayfield was saying with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brissett wants $20 million. The Cardinals are at $6.5 million and might be sitting there going, do we want to pay this guy $20 million? So that's, at least we finally have some idea of why he's holding out, what he's asking for. I know you've you've advocated for take a deal where you get paid per game or prove yourself. It doesn't sound like Jacoby Brissett wants to do that, Steve. He says, "Look, I'm a starter now, so pay me as a starter."
So make me the Arizona Cardinals GM, and I can solve this in one sentence.
Oh boy.
Gardner Minshew is the starting quarterback.
Goodbye. Thank you for coming out. See you later.
Nothing matters until you get into training camp and how you perform in the preseason games and where you go. Just end it right now. Hey, you're not Gardner Minshew right now is number one on our depth chart. So what are we negotiating?
And other than the Cardinals being a horribly run organization, why haven't they done that? If they don't want to pay Brissett, then just and they don't really think they have any sort of chance at anything this year. They can't possibly. They're not that delusional. NFC West. These are not exactly star-studded quarterbacks that we're choosing from with a giant future moving ahead. I just cut it loose.
Maybe they got starstruck with Aaron Glenn saying the Jets, this is their year, and they're going to, Geno Smith's going to make it happen.
Yes.
But even if the Cardinals are better than the Jets, look at the division they're playing in. No one can look at it and say, yeah, we're better than the Niners. You know what? I really like our chances against the Seahawks. And even though the Rams are the number one team with odds to win the Super Bowl, I'll take our roster every day over the Rams to win that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't understand the position. I don't understand why the Cardinals are even taking this seriously. Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, just pick Minshew and move on, or pay Brissett and move on. It's a very weird story to me.
And again, you never want me to be your GM because I would probably reach out and go to Gardner Minshew, find out what he's paying, and say, look, I'm going to give you a $2 million bonus, and I'm going to make you the number one quarterback. And then I'm really going to stick it to Jacoby Brissett because now I'm even paying. Hey, couple million, here you go, Minshew. I'm just going to use you in the press.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, another name that's been floating out there is not AJ Brown, but it leads us to the story. Patriots traded for him, and now he is the number one weapon for New England. Mike Vrabel, the head coach, did not outright dismiss the possibility of re-signing free agent Stephon Diggs. That's the name. But he basically did. He did not seem interested in it. He said, quote, I think we are at the number that we should be right now, end quote, referring to the wide receiver core. Stephon Diggs, we keep talking about. He's clearly the best receiver available in the current market. Yes, he's coming off a torn ACL. He caught 85 passes for 1,013 yards with 4 touchdowns in 17 games last season, 4 receptions for 110 yards in 4 postseason games. And was the theory, Steve, is Stephon Diggs asking too much of that wide receiver money? Because he is the best out there, and the Patriots have now basically said we ain't going after him. And why others? We mentioned the Niners yesterday, and other teams haven't jumped all over him. I'm still stumped.
So am I. The only thing I can go to is he's asking for that new wide receiver money that we've seen handed out over the last couple of years.
So you got to do the same thing that we've talked about then. You've got to swallow your pride and take less and ask for an incentive-laden contract with a team that you can win with, if that's what you care about.
Win with or really shine. I'll go sign with Arizona if I know I'm going to get 1,200 passing yards because then I can go get a bigger contract from there.
Right. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen in Arizona.
Because Gardner Minshew is my quarterback now.
Right. Apparently, we don't know. But I get your point, but there are teams, and I keep being stuck on the Niners because I'm a Niner fan. There are teams that you can sign with that you have a legitimate chance of getting to the postseason, and a team like the Niners, you're going to get your shots. Mike Evans is older, coming off an injury. Purdy loves to spread it around. We don't know the status of Kittle for sure yet. How much can McCaffrey do, et cetera? You're going to get your catches. So whether it's Niners or a team similar, say, look, I'll take X million of dollars, but I want this much in incentive, and you can do that. So I don't know what, and you mentioned yesterday that Boutte may be available as well. Our team's really all just sitting around waiting. Is Boutte going to be taken over Diggs? Either way, the Patriots seem to have no interest. in
I
training camp.
believe the Niners are sitting there and calculating it out. And I don't know how far they are under the cap, but I think Lynch, and maybe I'm giving him too much respect. I think Lynch is sitting there saying, hey, look, Diggs, if you want to come play for us, sign a 1 year, $8 million contract, and we'll give you another 12 million in incentives. Or Boutte. Look, what are the Patriots going to do? Are they going to move him on? Yeah, we'll throw him a 5th-round draft pick. We'll bring him in. And I think the Niners are doing their homework, but they're just sitting back watching how the chips fall. And then I would be more surprised if they didn't make one of these moves as we come closer to training camp when the players get a little bit more desperate.
You would be surprised, and I, as a fan, would be disappointed. Speaking of the Niners and wide receivers, the never ending story of Brandon Ayuk continues to never end. He was back on it on social media yesterday. He is still under contract with the Niners. Had he shown up during the voluntary offseason program and insisted on practicing, the Niners would have had to probably cut him. As it stands, he needs to be ready to report for training camp. And if and when he does, then the Niners have to decide whether to trade him, cut him with a reduced deal, or let him practice and risk going him more than $26 million if he suffers, say, a season ending injury in the building. Late, where are we? Thursday, Wednesday, I think it was late over the weekend, maybe Sunday or Monday. Ayuk posted a picture of himself wearing a Washington Commanders hat. He played with Jaden Daniels in college. Is that where he wants to go? Because he keeps making it look like it. And then in a new Instagram video yesterday, the Niners, Ayuk said that the Niners are upset because they screwed up by giving him a 4-year, $120 million extension in August of 2024. Here is the very enlightened, highbrow quote from Brandon Ayuk on Instagram yesterday. Quote, you want to know why they really mad? They mad because they stupid. They dumb. They mad that they paid me $50 million in 8 months and they voided my guarantees for 2026. I'm about to be on a new team in 2026. They mad at themselves for real. They just acting like they mad at me, but they stupid ass mad at themselves. It is funny. It reads funny to me. The headline, Brandon Ayuk, 49ers are mad because they stupid, is just funny, but it's also comically in the gutter. Who looks better here? The Niners or Ayuk? They both look bad to me, Steve.
They are, and when this was taking place, you and I were talking about it, and it's the whole thing. The Niners should know what he's asking. You're either willing to pay it or you're not. If you're not willing to pay it, you move it on. And that went on for months and months and months. And you knew there was a problem when after they sign him, or they waited that last like 30 days to get to August. And I forget exactly how it played out. But then Ayuk comes out and says, yeah, I was signing the deal. I just wanted another 30 days to make them sweat it out wait. That right there should have been the red flag going, what did we just do? And it's become more comical. I saw the headline. I do not have a subscription to the Athletic, so I could not read it. So I was really hoping, and I figured you would touch on it so I could find out what he really said. But how bad does that make him seem now? And why are you even thinking of reaching out and giving him anything other than a 1-year veteran minimum contract, which he's not going to sign?
Right.
Anything more than that, you as the Commanders are crazy to do anything more than that.
They mad because they stupid. That's the latest on Brandon Ayuk. Now we were told yesterday by Captain Obvious that there is no quarterback controversy or competition in Atlanta because Michael Penix Jr. isn't healthy, which by definition is all true. We just didn't know why we needed that statement put out. Today, we are told that there is still very much a quarterback competition in Cleveland. Coach Todd Monken said he is unable to name a starting quarterback between Deshaun Watson and All-Pro Shedeur Sanders at the conclusion of mandatory minicamp, which will be tomorrow. So unless something amazing happens today or tomorrow, he can't name a starter. Said Coach Monken, quote, I just don't see it after the way Shador has played and Deshaun's played. They've both played well enough to earn the right to compete to start, end quote. They have split first team practice reps throughout the offseason workout program. Yesterday, which was the first of the 3-day mini camps, all pro Sanders received all of the starting reps in 11 on 11 drills. Watson took reps with the second team offense. They'll switch it today, and then tomorrow they'll split it between the two of them. Said Monken, quote, I would have hoped to name a starter, but I like both of them. I don't know what to say. It's really as simple as that. I like both of them. And we haven't had the pads on, which makes it hard. As much as I'd love to make that decision, either by someone separating themselves upward or downward, either way, which has not occurred, and we haven't gotten to practicing against an opponent, putting the pads on, having a controlled scrimmage, or play preseason games, ... It's still on between all pro Shador and Deshaun Watson in Cleveland.
Wow. Okay. My take on that whole thing, because I hadn't read any of that. So you're hitting me fresh with that. Throughout the whole thing, I just kind of substituted it the other way with none of them have played good enough to take a step forward. For him to say anything other than that, he has to. He's the head coach. He's not going to come out and say, no one has come forward yet. They're both playing great. Substituted. They both suck. They've done nothing to separate each other from the other. No one has taken that giant step and shown why they deserve to be the starting quarterback. I can take it the exact opposite, that he's sitting there saying all the right things to the media, but deep down he's going, we're in trouble. We don't have a quarterback on this roster. I know we got 5 guys in our room, but they're all bad.
Wait, we're not supposed to take it that it's not what you said. It's that all pro Sanders and Deshaun Watson are playing both at such a high level that any of the NFL teams would take them, and I just can't choose which one.
Correct. That's what he's saying in a sense.
Okay.
But read between the lines. If they were both, I love our quarterback room right now. Both quarterbacks are playing at such a high level. It's amazing to see how great and their understanding of this system. We are in a great spot going into training camp to have quality. You didn't hear any of that. You just said that neither one is separated from the other, which could be they both are. He's not going to ever say they're bad. But if it was like, oh my gosh, I have Matthew Stafford and Josh Allen, and they're competing, you would be gushing. If that's the way they looked, you would be gushing as, look, I have so much. Even Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, Kyle Shanahan said, I got a great quarterback room. It's going to be tougher to determine who's not going to play because they are so talented in this system. And right now they look so sharp that it's going to be difficult to not be able to play both. But you didn't get, and if that was true on the high end, that's more the way this, in my opinion, this press conference would have gone, but it went the opposite in the sense of, well, I can't say how bad they are, so I'm going to say how good they are, but I'm really not going to get into anything because there really isn't anything there other than they're not very good.
Is it possible that there's choice C? We've heard rumblings that the owner of the Browns has made it clear, Deshaun's starting. I'm paying him all this money. And he's made that clear to Monken. And is Monken just doing this to keep all pro Shador feeling good, knowing he doesn't need to say anything? It's the die is cast. It's going to be Deshaun. But hey, I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to keep Dion happy. I'm going to keep all pro Shador happy. And it's going to be right down at that last minute when I have a moment to seize. Deshaun's our starter.
Which fits more into my scenario of I don't have a whole lot of choice here. We're paying 40 plus million, whatever it is, to Deshaun. I think Deshaun's going to be the starter solely because the owner's paying him the money. So why not? We still have Shador on a rookie contract. If and when Deshaun gets hurt, then we can go see what Shador can do at that time. I feel sorry for Dylan Gabriel sitting there going, was I that bad last year? I was the backup quarterback who then became the starting quarterback, and my name never even gets mentioned in anything anymore.
$2 for you into the swear jar for not referring to him as all pro Shador. You just said his name.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
No, it's
God,
not.
show some respect, Steve. All right, we talked earlier this week, and then we are talking yesterday again about the Detroit Lions. They came up yesterday on the worst to first list. If you look at the 8 worst placed teams, last place teams, sorry, the 8 last place teams in the NFL, which of them most likely to go worst from first? Duh, it's the Lions. That wasn't very difficult. And Steve and I had already done our let's go through the schedule now, doesn't matter, in June. We get to redo everything in September. And we had done the Lions, and I did reconfirm. Steve had his Lions at 13-4. I had them at 14-3. We both had them winning the division, but we haven't actually done the rest of the NFC North, and they keep coming up. And so we will start with the Green Bay Packers. We go game by game, and we see what we can come up with and compare. Now, this is difficult, Steve, because we don't know about that running game. We don't know about Josh Jacobs. So we've got to put our mindset on of, okay, they got Jordan Love, they got the receivers, they've got the quarterback. What do they have in the running game? And how's it going to affect them? That's why we get to redo this in September. So how are you looking at it right now? Are you going to look at it like they've got Jacobs and or a running replacement when we make these picks?
Yes, I don't think you can go into it anticipating an injury, a player holding out, something unexpected. So he is my starting running back for the Green Bay Packers going into this.
Agreed. Here we go. I'll only mention something if Steve's wrong. Game by game, the Packers will open the season at Minnesota.
Win.
At the New York Jets in week 2.
Win.
Thursday night football, they host the Atlanta Falcons.
Win.
Week 4, they are at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Win.
Really? They host the Chicago Bears.
Win.
By the way, USA Today had both the Buccaneers and the Bears as losses. I'm going to leave them as wins as well with Steve. So we've got them undefeated. We've got them 5-0 right now. The Packers, who in week 6 on Sunday Night Football will host the Dallas Cowboys.
Win.
Week 7, they are at the Detroit Lions. There it
Loss.
is. Thursday Night Football, they will host the Carolina Panthers.
Win.
Week 9, they go to New England.
Loss.
Yeah, and the USA Today gives them a win. No. They host the Minnesota Vikings.
Win.
Week 11 is their bye. That we talked yesterday. Was it the Cowboys have a week 14 bye? Where is your too late is too late? Because I know you don't like them late. Week 11 is a little later than first half of the season, but is that like the cutoff? Where's your cutoff, ideally?
Ideally, I would like it to be in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range. Once you start getting into 11 and up, and the part because I was building my stuff that I do with my homework, and I felt bad for the Packers, and I never feel bad for the Packers. They have a bye week in week 11, but they come back in week 12 on a Wednesday. That's really not a bye week. You're getting like, oh, hey, you get a bye week and you get like 9 days off. That's
no, you're
it.
right. Wow.
And
not only that, insult to injury, that's that brand new Thanksgiving Eve game on Wednesday night at the Rams.
right. So they lose a bye week because they're not getting it. And then they're at the Rams. It's like very seldom do I feel sorry for the Packers, but this was one of those schedule rip-off jobs. And the Packers are getting it.
And this is the problem with these. The only thing we haven't done, right, is Tuesday. This is the problem with these midweek games. Teams are going to get screwed.
Yeah.
We agree that even with that 9-day bye, that's a loss at Los Angeles, right, for the Rams.
Yes.
To the Rams when they come back. Okay. Then week 13, the Packers are at the Saints.
A win.
They host for Sunday Night Football. Good matchup. They host the Bills.
A loss.
And then they host the Dolphins.
A win.
Christmas Day, they are at Chicago.
A loss.
Agree. And week 17, they host on Monday Night Football the Houston Texans.
A win.
And they end the season hosting the Detroit Lions.
How many wins do they have, or how many losses do they have?
Currently have 5 losses for our side.
They win.
So you like them at 12-5.
Yeah, because the Lions have them already, the division already wrapped up, so they're going to rest their starters, and so
Oh,
Packers will
okay.
get the win.
Okay. We gave them let's see. We gave them a loss when they go to New England in week 9. The USA Today said no, they're going to win that one. Um that one I'm not sure of. That's just because I don't know the state that the Patriots are going to be in, but they're going to New England week 9. The other ones that jumped out were USA Today had the Packers losing against Tampa Bay in Tampa week 4 and hosting the Bears in week 5. We gave them both wins on that one, and they gave them a loss. So in the end, we have the Packers at 12-5. All right, we'll circle back. How about them Vikings? Uh, the Minnesota Vikings. I think everybody has been saying they're fourth in the NFC North, but how fourth are they? Let's see. They will begin the season. We already did a few of these, obviously, by playing and hosting the Green Bay Packers. The Vikings, by definition, will lose that because we already said so. What about the Vikings week 2? They're at the Chicago Bears,
A loss.
at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Kyler Murray's replaced by No, I'm just kidding. I think they lose week 3.
Yes, at Tampa Bay. Now, what about they host Miami in week 4?
Bring on JJ McCarthy. They get a win in week 4.
I'm not gonna bring on JJ. They are okay. Week 5, the Vikings are at New Orleans. We have winning the South.
I'm gonna
right?
give them a win.
You're gonna give the Vikings a win.
Yep. So they're 2-3 right now.
We had the Saints. Correct me if I'm wrong. At 9-8, right, when we did the South and winning the division.
Yes.
Okay. Then the Vikings have their bye in week 6, and then they come back and they host in week 7 the Indianapolis Colts.
A win.
Yeah, they're at Detroit.
Loss.
They host the Bills.
Loss.
Vikings are at the Packers.
A loss.
They host the Niners in Mexico City on Sunday Night Football.
A loss.
Week 12, the Vikings host the Falcons.
A win.
They host the Panthers.
A loss.
Thursday Night Football, they go to New England.
A loss.
They host Detroit for Sunday Night Football in Week 15.
A loss.
They host the Commanders.
A win.
They go to the New York Jets. Oh God, what if the season is what we think it is, second to last week of the season, the Vikings are at the Jets.
A win.
And they end the season hosting the Bears.
A loss.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh God. Okay, we've got them at 6-11 for the season.
And they could be 7-10. And the Jets game, yeah, bad game. I think both are. And where I give the Vikings the win, really, for that was the Jets have no quarterbacks. They have nothing sitting there at this point. Their season is over. At least if Kyler Murray's been pulled, JJ McCarthy is trying to show he can still play in the NFL. So, and if not, and they're having a good season, Kyler Murray's he's playing for a contract. So I see the Vikings really trying to finish up the season strong. May not do it, but I don't see them as, you can't use the word tanking with them.
With the Vikings.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if they get 7, we're not seeing a path towards them being competitive in the NFC North that I'm seeing as we go over this.
No. Unless Kyler Murray can start. He usually always has great Septembers, and then he starts to fade in October, normally gets a nagging injury in there. And then by November, December, he's worthless. So maybe he finds a way to stay healthy and it has the drive for the contract to play well.
So let's jump to the Chicago Bears, who I was high on initially, and then Steve kept making fun of me, and now I'm just not sure. I'm not sure where I am on the Bears. We know if we go by what we've done already today, the Bears will win in week 2 when they host the Vikings. They will lose in week 5 when they're at Green Bay. The Bears will win in week 16 when they host the Packers on Christmas. and they will win the last week of the season when they're at Minnesota. When we did Detroit, I double checked the schedule, or I double checked the record, but not the game by game. Steve, they play Detroit. The Bears do. They host them in Week 17, and they also play them in Week 12 on Thanksgiving. Now you gave that. That's the difference game. I gave that game to the Lions, and you gave it to the Bears because you've got PTSD over your halftime thing. So that one is a Rob win.
I had the Bears going 2-0 against them because I believe I had them winning Week 17 too.
Really? Okay, so this one I'm doing it's a loss for me. Yeah, the Bears are going to lose on Thanksgiving, but you have them at a win. Okay, so here's what's left of the Bears. They open the season at Carolina.
A loss.
You're kidding. Okay, that's a win. We already have them winning, hosting Minnesota in Week 2. Week 3, Monday Night Football, they host the Eagles.
A loss.
They host the Jets.
A win.
We know they'll lose at Green Bay in Week 5. Week 6, they are at Atlanta.
A loss.
Oh, my God.
I think there's a letdown coming to Chicago.
There's a win there. Wait a minute. Steve, where was the one? Oh, he had a loss. Okay, got it. Not this big a letdown. No. Okay, Week 7, Thursday Night Football, and the Bears host, what a good game, the New England Patriots.
A win.
Wow, okay. No common sense came back. Monday Night Football, the Bears are at Seattle.
A loss.
They host on Sunday Night Football, Tampa Bay.
A win.
Then they have their bye, Week 10. Not bad for Chicago. That's right at your cutoff. Week 11, they come back and they host the Saints.
A win.
They are at Detroit on Thanksgiving. We already covered that. You have them winning that game.
Yes.
The Bears. Yes, I have them losing that game. Week 13, the Bears host the Jaguars.
A loss.
No, that is wrong.
A loss.
No.
They're riding big. They just beat Tampa. They beat the Saints, and they beat Detroit.
This is our biggest disagreement ever. Week 14, the Bears are at Miami. Come on.
A win.
Thank you. They are at Buffalo.
A loss.
That's a Saturday game, by the way, because now we're into Week 15. Then we have Christmas. They host the Packers. They're going to win that. We all agreed on that one. The Bears are going to win. Right? Yes, right.
Yeah.
And then there's that second to last one where they host the Lions,
which I have as a win.
Which you have as a win, and so do I. And Week 18, they're at Minnesota. Okay, so for Steve, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ridiculous. And for me, I have to add in and take one of those wins. Okay, so what?
10 and 7? Is that what I gave them?
You gave them 9 and 8, and I gave them 11 and 7.
Okay.
Yeah, or 11 and 6. Sorry. So I have them 11 and 6. You have them 9 and 8. Which does still put the Bears kind of where I've had them from the beginning of competing, but maybe not as much as I thought originally. And you've got a more 9 and 8, which is like, not maybe they could win 10 sort of thing, but it's a Packer Lion thing.
I think the Bears are a borderline. They will be fighting for the wild card spot.
And they will, and you said letdown. You think it's a letdown season overall for the Bears and also for Caleb? Is it just is it a valley season, or are they going to go down?
I think they're still going to be good. They're just not going to be as good. They're not going to sneak up on people. Caleb Williams had such a breakout season. What they won 7 games in the last 2 minutes. You don't get that kind of luck year in and year out. I think it's going to look a little bit, not as bad, but a little bit like the Commanders, who had that great season and then last year took the step back. I think Ben Johnson's going to be a great NFL coach, but I think they're going to get humbled a little bit, and then he's going to make some adjustments. And by year 3, he's going to have the team that he expects. Year 1, it was like figuring it out, and they did great. Year 2, this is where he's supposed to take the step forward, but because they had such a great first season, I think they take that step back. By year 3, I think that's when I got to start considering them a legitimate contender for that division. I hope the Lions have already won a World Super Bowl because after this year, because after that, I'm concerned at where the Bears and the Packers are really going to go.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
The first time Corey walked into my home, I came around the corner, extended my right hand to shake it, and said to him, "Wow, you're big." And that would be Corey from QuickDumpsters.com. Quick is spelled wrong intentionally. Quick, Q-U-I-K Dumpsters.com. That's QuickDumpsters.com. Corey's yet another maggot launching his own locally owned and operated business, and boy, did I need him, and really we all do. Things pile up, you get frustrated, you keep saying, "We need to make a dump run." Pretty soon it's more than a dump run, and now you need to rent a truck or have one of those ugly upside down box cars parked in front of your house that you fill up yourself. Or you do like I did, you call Corey at QuickDumpsters.com. In my case, my house had fallen into complete disarray as my late wife Christina had lost her 2-year battle with congestive heart failure, and amongst the many things left were gathering her things and finding what to donate, what had to just go in that pile of stuff where we were both going, why did we ever buy this? And it all could have been so overwhelming had Corey not just walked in, taken charge, and removed dozens of boxes of total junk, unusable dog kennels, desks that were falling apart, a worthless old smoker that couldn't be fixed, bag after bag of crap, and I can't remember what else. He was quick, spelled wrong, Q-U-I-K, quiet and clean. Well, he wasn't clean. I mean, he was. But I'm not commenting on his hygiene. I meant that his work was clean. He swept everything when he was done, and the house looked like he'd never even been there. Corey's the real deal, and I couldn't be more proud and happy to call him a brand new advertiser. His story's incredible, his dedication unmatched, and his motivation to succeed larger than he is, and that's saying something. Quotes are free. You don't even have to have them over to your house. Just send him some pics or videos, and you'll get your price, schedule your day and time, and watch someone else get that junk out of your house. Go to QuickDumpsters.com. Quick, Q-U-I-K, Dumpsters.com. Quick, Q-U-I-K, Dumpsters.com. Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
This is Sports Talk, how it should be. Rob and Steve do it right. They actually talk sports. Email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com.
A couple of Major League games already underway on the East Coast. We'll keep an eye on those for you as we get to them. Two more about to start. What a moment for Braden Montgomery. Yesterday, we were just talking about the Chicago White Sox. Are they for real? Can they stay for real? They're right there. They're right there in it with the Howardians. Braden Montgomery is the 12th player to make his major league debut for the White Sox this season. He was part of that blockbuster trade when they sent Garrett Crochet to Steve's Boston Red Sox for 4 prospects late in 24. All 4 have made their debuts, none more dramatic than Montgomery's last night. Before the game, White Sox manager Will Venable said that Montgomery will be the switch hitting lineup. The switch hitter will be in the lineup almost every day now. Somehow the White Sox are able to compute better what you do with young prospects as they battle for first place than the San Francisco Giants can figure out what to do when you're battling for last place. Sorry, that was just a little tangent, a little bit of an opinion-based tangent. In Chicago, the crowd included a large group of Montgomery's friends and family who made the trip to watch the former first-round pick get the start in right field. He batted 6th. He struck out in his first at bat. He singled home a run his next time up before the 23-year-old came to bat 5-4 deficit with 2 outs, runner on third base, bottom of the 10th inning. And Braden Montgomery hits an 0-1 changeup off Atlanta Braves closer, Raisel Iglesias, and pandemonium ensues as the ball lands in the White Sox bullpen, and Montgomery hits a 2-run walk-off homer in his major league debut. 6-5, the Sox win. He said, I couldn't hear anything. Asked if he knew the ball was going out. He said, I had no clue. I hit it. I thought it would at least get over his head. I was excited that at least we didn't lose. Just in and of itself, what a great baseball story, that moment.
And keep in mind, this was off Iglesias. He's been pretty much unhittable this whole season to this point, giving up the 2 runs in that game and as little over an inning he threw. It raised his ERA to 1.21, which shows how great of a season he's had. Such a wonderful moment for Montgomery. We talked about him making his debut yesterday, and you couldn't write a better script, really.
What we also talked about yesterday with the White Sox is hosting Atlanta for 3, then they host the Dodgers, and then they go to the Yankees. This 9-game stretch. I think you said, Steve, if you give me 5-4 right now, you're a happy man if you're a White Sox. Is that the number?
Yes, I said a 5-4. I would take that. They already got the first game, the most important one. Let's go from there.
They're 1-0 as they beat the Braves. Then the White Sox stay half a game behind the Howardians. Meanwhile, the Braves, we were just kind of alluding to it earlier, right fielder Ronald Acuna Jr. left the game with left hamstring tightness, came up limping after a ground ball, threw his helmet on the floor of the dugout. Of course, he's had injuries, 21, 24. Walt Weiss, the manager, initially said day to day. Boy, we heard this a million times. And he's getting an MRI today. I haven't seen any update on him. Have you seen, Steve? Right now, they're saying day to day because we're all waiting for the MRI.
I'm almost positive they put him on the IL while we were doing the show.
Oh, man. Okay. So, again, it goes from, day to day until we actually get the results of the MRI. ESPN's still saying day to day. That doesn't mean it's not true. Just we try to cross-check each other. So either way, not great news for the Braves, but they have that huge lead, Steve. 9-game lead over the Phillies. Still, the Braves have won 7 of their last 10. They go at it again with the White Sox, and the Braves are throwing Chris Sale, while the White Sox have Davis Martin.
Yes, I do have for that update. He was placed on the 10-day IL. Just pulled up the article right there. Great pitching matchup. I mean, both these pitchers are in the Cy Young talk for their leagues. Chris Sale has been outstanding. He's 8-4 ERA, a little over 2. His whip sitting right around 1, 2-1 in his last 3. But Martin, this is a guy nobody even knows. He did get touched up in his last outing or a second to last outing. But outside of that, he'd allowed 3 runs in 1 game. And I think it was like a few games with 2, but it had been 1 run or less on the season. He's sitting at 8-2, ERA at 2.6. His whip a little bit over 1. But that 1 outing he got roughed up makes him 2-1 in his last 3 with an ERA sitting at 6. I'm hoping he rebounding it. And yesterday I told you about the center fielder for the White Sox, Tristan Peters, who was with the Savannah Bananas. I was curious to see where Montgomery was going to play because he is a center fielder, but they moved Montgomery to right field. because Tristan Peters is hitting 500 over his last 2 weeks. Go bananas.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the White Sox are a half game behind the Howardians, and they are currently playing in Cleveland. It is the bottom of the eighth. Yankees are up 8-3 in that game after last night. Chaz Chisholm Jr. heard chants in Cleveland of overrated, and then he hit a home run in the eighth inning that sends the Yankees to a 3-2 win over the Howardians. Chisholm acknowledged, by the way, the chance got to him in the fifth when he overswung on a couple of pitches and struck out. Ultimately, he was able to hit the game winner. So if the White Sox win tonight and the Guardians stay losing to the Yankees tomorrow, we will be talking about the first place White Sox, while the Yankees will be playing in Cleveland, or are playing in Cleveland right now with that 8-3 lead. Rodon started. He's out now. Chisholm's gone 1 for 3 with 3 RBI again today, 2 runs scored, and a stolen base. So maybe Chisholm's finally had it and he's going to pull his head out.
Oh, would it be nice? He was talking preseason, before the season started, as being like a 50-50 guy. He's going to have 50 homers, 50 stolen bases. He hasn't backed it up at all. Right now, the Yankees are up 8-3 in the top of the ninth. Chisholm's first at bat, I believe he doubled, but he drove in 2 runs, so he just continued off of that home run. Looks like the Yankees are going to go on to win. It's time for another rookie, Spencer Jones. I don't know if you've seen anything about him. Hit a big home run last night for the Yankees. He's 6'7", a big guy. He has light tower power type of thing. He can hit a ball a long ways. He just has a big hole in his swing. One of those guys that's going to strike out 40% of the time. But if he can ever figure it out, he has unlimited potential as well. It's time for him to step up with Aaron Judge being out.
So as Steve reported, they're now in the top of the ninth. Yankees are up 8-3. If they win it, and if Tampa Bay were to lose the game they're about to end, and they have ended it, then the Yankees would move into a first place by a game. However, Tampa Bay has just completed beating the Red Sox 7-5, so it looks like we'll stay in the American League East with mere percentage points separating the Yankees and the Rays. And they're both kind of in that same area. The Yankees have won 4 in a row. Now Tampa Bay has won 3 in a row, and they're still vying at it with each other. And your Red Sox will now be 13 and a half out. And now they're finding a way to lose away as well as at home, Steve. They'll be under 500 finally as a road team after this.
Yeah, I'm happy that we could solve the Rays' troubles. I mean, the Rays have been struggling over the last 10 days. Hey, just bring on the Red Sox. Let's get our winning streak going. Now it'll be 3 straight games. Feeling good about themselves again. They've put all that badness behind them. Thank you, Boston, yet again.
We'll stay in the American League and talk about the ridiculosity that is occurring in Las Vegas, where the A's are playing at the Las Vegas ballpark for a couple weeks, or a couple series as a precursor to this is where we'll be in 2028. It is comical to watch these balls fly out. What was it, 15-14 on Monday night? Last night it started that way and then it slowed down. In the end, Henry Bolte hit his first career home run. A's went deep 5 other times last night, and they beat the Brewers 7-5. Bolte was called up May 13th. The issue with him was, where's his power? Where's his power? He showed it last night. A's won 3-2. Soderstrom, Kurtz, Heim, and Geloff all homered as well. JT Ginn got the win, even though he gave up 5 runs, 8 hits, and 3 walks in 5 2/3 innings. Ginn did not look himself. And I thought, because I watched the whole game, he's playing in that minor league park where he's played. He knows the place well. He's a sinker ball. Well, Ginn throws 7 pitches, but he went high on his sinker, obviously, meaning he was throwing the sinker high. He leaned on it to try to get those ground balls. And you could just tell he didn't have great stuff. He was falling off the mound a lot. But he had to get them innings after the A's used 7 pitchers in that debacle Monday. There was a moment where Kotze came out, manager Mark Kotze came out and talked to JT Ginn in the 6th inning, and had a chance to pull him out. And Kotze said no. Stay in. You're my guy. You're basically Kotze. This is the third time Kotze's done something in the last month to tell JT Ginn, you're the ace. You're the leader of the staff. Now Ginn went on to give up a big home run, and then Kotze pulled him. But that message he sent to Ginn of "I need you, pal," and in the end, it didn't matter. He did get the win. The A's went on to hold it and stay 3.5 behind the Mariners. They're going to wrap things up tonight with the Brewers throwing Brandon Sproat against Jack Perkins for the A's. This is another one of those, okay, you were hurt, you were AAA, you're back up. We're just throwing various people from the A's that are young back out there. Perkins has been up before.
I love it with JT Ginn. Let him learn. Hey, show him the confidence. I'm going to keep you in there. You're my guy, as you said. But he needs to grow. He needs to figure out how to get a win. And I liked this game because he didn't have his stuff and he still found a way to get the outs, get a win, which is what you need to do. As we've talked about, not every game do you go out there and have your great stuff. Watching this game, and I was in the camp of I don't fully understand why the A's are playing in Sacramento outside of the TV rights. And I believe the TV rights were a big part of that with the A's. But I wanted them to come down to Vegas. Look, you're moving to Vegas anyway. Let's play. And I'm watching last night's game and the night before. I'm going, this is why they're not playing in Vegas. I mean, it's almost comical to sit and you watch it. You know, Bote, no home runs. Where's his power? Boom, 446 foot home run. Well, it just took Las Vegas in order to bring it out. So I'm hoping Vegas really enjoys playing in Las Vegas. They can build on this going forward. But these games are comical. It's funny to sit and watch them.
And when Churio hit his 2-run homer in the first for the Brewer, he couldn't stop laughing because it was such an asinine home run. He's laughing at himself. He's looking in his dugout. Everybody's the dugout is like, how did that ball go out?
It's like they're playing on a little league field, and I know that's not the case, but it just with how the ball carries and everything, it's like, yeah, we're playing a home run derby here.
It really kind of was that. So the A's stay 3.5 behind. Meanwhile, the Astros, that Steve says, keep watching them. He believes in him. He believes in him. But I'm sorry. I knew there was something I want to say. Not to just keep picking on the point, but here you have the Oakland A's. I'm sorry, the Las Vegas A's of Sacramento, whatever the hell we're calling them these days. They also have figured out what to do with a major young prospect, Bolte, when they bring him up. They play him. They put him in the outfield. They tell Lawrence Butler to sit down for the most part because you're just not hitting, Law Dog. I mean, he's actually doing better as a pinch hitter than anything else. Let Bolte hit. Don't keep sitting him down like Bryce Eldridge with the Giants. Let Bolte work it out. Yeah, he hit a 446 home run in Vegas. But does it get him going? Does it get him dialed in? Does it give him the confidence? And so there we have another example of if you're going to bring him up, let him play, like the White Sox did with Montgomery, like the A's are doing with Bolte, etc. To the Angels and the Astros, who played one another. The Angels got a 5-run second inning, and they beat the Astros 10-1 last night, leaving the Astros 5.5 back of the Mariners. Angels don't matter. They're 10 out. They're going to wrap it up tonight. Peter Lambert for the Astros against Reed Detmers for the Angels.
Yeah, that was an ugly game for him. Reed Detmers is the ace for this Angels team. Hasn't produced like that. He's 2-5, ERA at 4.26. But he has been really good in his last 3 outings. He's 1-0, but his WHIP is 0.68. His ERA is sitting at 1.89. But Lambert's had a nice year. He's 5-4 on the season, an ERA at 3.6. But his WHIP over his last 3 outings is 1.7. Even though he's got a low ERA, he keeps getting in trouble. He's putting runners on. It's just, does the Angels lineup last night? They all stepped up, but do they have enough to put pressure on the Astros? We know the Astros can hit, and this could hopefully be a good game.
Since we've mentioned them a few times, we'll jump over to the Giants. They lost to the Nationals 6-3 last night. Giants right-hander Adrian Hauser, who is winless in 5 home starts this season, yielded 4 runs and 3 hits and 4 1/3. Nationals will throw Foster Griffin against Robbie Ray for the Giants in the finale this afternoon, which I think is actually about to start, but I'll double check that.
Yes, it has started.
Yep,
It's
there it
top
is.
of the first. Good pitching matchup. Robbie Ray has been struggling a little bit as of late, sitting at 4-6. But Griffin's had a great year for the Nationals. He's sitting at 7-2. I keep bringing him up. James Wood, 3 for 5 last night. He's one of those really talented young hitters. And I have to tip my hat to the Giants. They finally started letting Eldridge play, as you've heard me complain about it. Last 14 games, Eldridge is hitting 422 with an on base average of 500. He is now hitting 300 on the season, 385 overall. And he hit a home run again last night. Again, why did they not play him as Rob had said? This just didn't make sense. They're finally giving him the opportunity. He's making the most of it. But Young Ho Lee hitting the ball great. This guy's he's hitting 569 over the last 2 weeks. So the Giants are hitting the ball, but that pitch in ERA has been terrible. Hauser hasn't gotten anything done. But hopefully Robbie Ray, they paid him a lot of money. This is where he's got to end the losing streak and find a way to get the Giants a win. They're few and far between, but they need to find a way.
Everything lined up. Last night, the Dodgers took their momentum into Pittsburgh to test themselves against the Pirates, and a guy named Paul Skeens, who is still one of the best pitchers in baseball this season, even though it hasn't felt like it at times. He's 5th with 89 strikeouts. His whip is .91, the 3rd best in the MLB. The 24-year-old grew up in Orange County as an Angels fan, and historically, Skeens, when he goes against the Dodgers, is pretty good. He entered last night 3-1 with 4 appearances against the Dodgers and an ERA of 2.7 and 33 strikeouts. Pirates took a 2-0 lead in the first inning, and through the 6th inning, that was the end of Skeens' night. Skeens left when the game was tied 2-2. Skeens pitched 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, threw 103 pitches, and 62 of them were strikes, but the Dodgers won 12-3. So everything fell apart after Skeens left. Why didn't the stars align, Steve? Last night, the Pirates throw Skeens, and tonight the Dodgers throw Ohtani. We were so close to Ohtani and Skeens, but instead we will get Ohtani tonight against Jared Jones.
Yeah, and last night's game, if you watched, it was that classic example of a pitcher throwing really well. And the minute he gets taken out, the Dodgers went, "We have life. Here it is. We got a shot." They then hang a 10 spot in the 7th inning. Paul Skeens just shaking his head. But, the analytics said you got to take him out. He's at 103 pitches. We can't let him go anymore, even though, outside of a big double he gave up to Mookie Betts in the 2nd inning that led to a run, he's pitched pretty good. Tonight's game, Ohtani has been unbelievable. And as great as the starting pitching has been with Christopher Sanchez, Jacob Mizrachi, I can go on and on. Ohtani's ERA for the season is 0.74. If he can continue doing this, I don't see how he doesn't win the Cy Young, even though you won't have the innings, you won't have the strikeouts, you won't have those different things. Because I think the last time we saw a starting pitcher, and it's going to be different with Bob Gibson in 1968, I think his ERA was 1.12. If Ohtani can find a way to be lower than Gibson's 68 season, how do you not give him that Cy Young? Tonight, he's going up against Jared Jones. First outing out, did not look that good. He's got 9 innings under his belt in his first 2 starts. But he is a really good, talented young pitcher. I'm hoping he's getting his footing under him, getting comfortable. I'm hoping this can turn into a good pitching matchup. I just, as much as I keep thinking of Ohtani as that hitter, and I don't want to give him the Cy Young, he's starting to make it interesting. We're into June now, and an ERA under 1 from a starting pitcher is unheard of.
Game 4 in the NBA Finals tonight, Madison Square Garden. We'll be back tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of the Rob and Steve Sports Show, brought to you by the Rad Network and is copyrighted by the radnetwork.com and Williams Broadcasting for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of whatever Rob and Steve just talked about without the express permission of the Rad Network, Williams Broadcasting, and Rob's Really Mean Lawyers is